Good evening. I'm calling Northborough School Committee open meeting of Wednesday, December 4th, 2019 to order. It is 7:03. The first item on our agenda is a special recognition of Northborough Rotary Club's Nutrition 68 program.
So I'd like to invite up Patricia and Skip Doyle from the Northborough Rotary. So welcome. And Northborough Rotary has been sponsoring the Nutrition 68 program for over 2 years now. And actually the work started with Superintendent Johnson a couple years ago, and principals here sitting around the table and talking about some ideas to bring the Nutrition 68 program to Northborough. So this evening, it's an opportunity for us to thank the Northborough Rotary and Patricia and Skip for their hard work. And I'll have Alana say a few words since this has been an effort of hers as well.
So we've been honored to partner with the Rotary Club for the past 2 years, which started as a pilot program at Proctor to help families that had a need. There was a need for food over the weekend period for families. We've been able to partner with the Rotary to provide them with those backpacks of food. So we started with about 15 families last year, and this year we were able to expand to the other 4 elementary schools and to Milligan. So we're packing probably about 25 bags, close to that, yep. And the numbers change weekly based on the needs of families, and so every week we partner with the Rotary to get students and families what they need over the course of the 68 hours of a weekend. So we've been very honored to partner with them, so thank you.
So on behalf of the Public Schools of Northborough, I'd like to recognize the Northborough Rotary, and this is a certificate of recognition. It says, to the Northborough Rotary for its community outreach Nutrition 68 program. So thank you, and it's great.
We should stand up.
I just asked for maybe 25 minutes or so tonight to talk, if that's okay. If I run over, that you just let me know. But I think that we have to give particular thanks to Alana Sear, because I think if she wasn't really behind this program and really got it going, it probably wouldn't be in existence today. So Alana, thank you so much.
We have so many people in the community to thank for supporting us. We have some brochures to give you to let you know a little more about the program. It seems as if, as soon as we talk about it, this wonderful community of Northborough comes forward and says, how can we help? What can we do? What do you need? We receive donations. They can't believe that there are young people in this wonderful community that actually have 68 hours of hunger. They don't want to think about the fact that that could possibly be what it's like here in town, that there are that many. And now we're just about at 30. I know there probably are some more out there. We'll keep working at it. We hope that they had enough this weekend. Little did we know we'd have Monday and Tuesday off. I've been kind of worried about them, but I think maybe they've got enough, stashed away to hold up. So again, we want to thank the school department for allowing us to work with you on this program. The Rotary International has given us a grant again this year because they see the need, and so we're going to continue it and see what happens from there. So thank you all so much.
I'd personally like to thank Patricia and Skip for everything that they've done through the Rotary and even just as great citizens of Northborough, and especially to Alana to take this off, to think that even under the direction of our former superintendent, Christine Johnson, it started with one school, and knowing now that we're up to 5 schools, the 4 elementary and the middle school, is absolutely wonderful. It was an education to myself when I saw the article in the Community Advocate, because you hear so much information about just breakfast for the kids coming in the morning in some of the schools throughout the state, that they're just giving a warm breakfast because some kids are coming in hungry to school. And when you have those hunger pains, you're not going to get through that well throughout the day. And it was an education to know that we do have some families in town that need this over the weekend. And, it's the 60 hours of food. So thank you very much for the way that you're doing this, for the growth, Alana, for being in the forefront of this. And I think this just shows that education in Northborough does not just stop. It begin at 7 in the morning and end at 3 o'clock. It is a continual thing, and I applaud the leadership of our schools and the town, the leadership, for doing this for our community and even the adults, and making sure that these kids and their family are well and that they are being well fed. So thank you very much for all your efforts. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda this evening will be action on the minutes. We have 2 minutes in our packets to vote on and approve.
Madam Chairperson, can I put them both together?
Well, one has to
One
be.
Has to be retained. Do you want 2 separate, or can I still do it? I'll do one at a time. For the first one, I'd like to put into motion that we accept the open meeting minutes of November 4th, 2019 as stated.
I second.
All right. And then I guess you motion twice, and then we'll vote twice.
Mhm.
And then the second motion would be the action on the executive session minutes of November 4th, 2019 to accept but retain.
Second.
So all those in favor for the action on the meeting minutes, November 4th? And then all those in favor for action on exec session to vote, approve and retain? The next item on our agenda is the Lincoln Street Improvement Plan.
So we have Principal Wright, who will be sharing the school improvement plan for Lincoln Street School. But before she begins, we have some special guests here this evening.
Yes, so we're lucky to have a few students with us tonight, who are going to do a presentation for you about some of the work they've been doing in the classroom. So I'd like to welcome Mrs. Bunzik, Rebecca, and Isabella, who will be presenting for you this evening.
Okay. Stay here.
Oh, we can just sit.
Okay. Perfect. I can see sideways.
So my name is Sandy Bunzik. I'm the ELD teacher at Lincoln Street School, and I currently support students in Mrs. Foley's 5th grade classroom. And I am privileged, as I said, to have Isabella and Rebecca, who are in that class, here with me this evening. At the beginning of the year, Mrs. Foley's class was engaged in their traditional narrative writing program, and we were talking about one of the challenges we had at Lincoln Street. Our goals was to integrate technology in a meaningful way into the current curriculum frameworks. We looked at the narrative writing standards, and she was game to go along with me and introduce some coding, scratch coding, digital storytelling into the classroom. And in that program, we looked at facets of storytelling and how naturally they fit with coding. So the students are working on projects, small little projects each week, and at the end they will have a larger personal narrative project that they will work on that will combine all the coding technology that we've learned and all of the storytelling techniques. Our projects included one on dialogue, characterization, setting, premise, reactions, and interactive storytelling. So without further ado, I'm going to have Rebecca talk about our very first project that we worked on. She will be sharing her project and the work of another student who is not here this evening. And before we do that, I just wanted to reiterate something that Mrs. Doyle will undoubtedly talk about this evening, is that the value of this digital story technology, because while the students are doing their storytelling, they are also engaged in higher level thinking. They're doing they have to think about what they want their sprites to do, what they want them to say, how are they going to get everything to work, and they have to put that all down in a code. So they're always thinking and rejiggering. They have to debug, right? Our favorite thing is debugging and finding why isn't something working. And there's so much value in problem solving that way. And I think my biggest favorite thing that I've watched this class do is the last one, which is cooperate. The students work together to solve their problems. They talk with each other. They share their ideas. They learn from each other. So it's just a really great way to do storytelling, rather in addition to the traditional paper and pencil. But it's very dynamic. So without further ado, Rebecca will talk about the first project that we did.
In our first project, we worked on using dialogue. One challenge of using our dialogue was we had to choose one of the story starters below to create a conversation between two sprites. Dialogue is when two characters come together and have a conversation.
Okay. So this is Rebecca's first project, okay? Very first one that she did. Okay, if I can get it up here. Yeah. And she titled it Royal Beasts. All right, ready? Here we go. If you can read that. Oh, we can see that. Okay, pull it back. Okay, I can read that far away. So I want to show you just about the coding that went inside to that project. So if you take a look, you can see that Rebecca had to time all of that work to come out exactly the way that she wanted it to do. All right, so was that easy, Rebecca?
No.
What was one of the biggest challenges you had?
To make the characters talk at different times to make it more realistic instead of both talking at the same time.
All right, so she had to code it so that the dialogue was popping up at different times. Okay, and we'll show you the second project. This was another project that a student did. She's not here this evening. And hers was called The Circus. Hard to see, that goes by so fast. Okay, so in that project we had some beginning parts of animation, and again I'd like to show you just the amount of coding that went in behind that project. It's hard to appreciate till I actually do it. So there we go for the elephant and then the crab. Just all those blocks of code, trying to get everything to sequence at the same time. And she had a great little story there, if you could read it from back there, but it was a great little story. All right, and our last project I would like to share with you this evening is Isabella, come on up.
Another project that we did was about characters' reaction. We wanted to know about what the sprites, that another way we call is characters, what their reactions would be or what they would look like. So and we had these three choices we could make them be in at the pet store, in the city, or on the moon.
Okay, and you chose?
At the pet store.
Okay, which is again a great little project here, and this is her Pet Shop Breakout. There you go. All right, so that's her second one. All right, so again, I'd like to just show you what's inside that project so you can see the amount of work that goes into this. So this is just the coding for the dog, to get the dog to do what she wanted the dog to do. And then just all the different objects. And as we've been going along, the projects become more sophisticated. Kids are learning different aspects of coding each project, and at the end, they'll be able to combine everything into one larger project. So I'd like to give a hand. It's it's hard to appreciate what that's
What's the app you're doing?
It's called Scratch. Scratch is a programming language that was developed by MIT in their lifelong kindergarten program. And so it's free, and we can access. And they also have a Scratch Junior program, which I'm using with my second grade students, and I think a third grade are going to be doing some fairy tales with as well. So it's already doing something that they're doing in the classroom. It's just adding that other element of problem solving and thinking at a different level.
Is there a link that the parents can see this?
Well, I could copy the link and send that to the parents. I don't send it out broadly to everybody's work, but I could send it to individual. I haven't done
So
that.
if you had a request from a parent, you could send an individual link to this so they
Yes.
could see. This is absolutely wonderful, and ladies, thank you very much, and giving your time tonight. This is absolutely wonderful, and I appreciate it much because at the regional, we always have the high school students come up and make presentations, and I always ask, if we could see what the kids do here at this level, and it's wonderful. So thank you for being a wonderful representation of all your students, and you did a great job. You didn't even know cards. You just spoke so well and so eloquently. Gosh, I think we're going to see you up at the high school.
We were going to practice. We didn't get to practice.
They did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now Rebecca's mom gets to have a turn. Melanie's going to come up and do her PTO presentation at Lincoln Street, and Melissa. I don't have the Apple TV. The little icon. It was there.
Go to system preferences. And then display.
I love their hot chocolate. Oh, I know, I do too. So good. I don't drink coffee. So you really like it's a special treat.
Hello, my name is Melanie Palmer, and I am one of the co-chairs for the LSS PTO this year. This is Melissa Tugas. She is our treasurer this year. So I'm going to start with thanking you for giving us this opportunity to share a little bit about how we fundraise and how we support our students, parents, and teachers at Lincoln Street School. So I started with just our graphic. This is our PTO family tree, kind of an overview. It shows how we fundraise. That's our trunk, and then the branches show where we allocate these funds. I'm going to go through and give you specifics on some of our most effective fundraising efforts, and then a glimpse into the impact our PTO has on our school community. First of all, we'll start with our Lincoln Street School Fun Day. So we held our annual Fun Day on Saturday, October 26th. This year we changed the theme to a Harry Potter inspired Wizards theme. Beth Rodney, a second grade parent, she masterfully redesigned all of our booths and areas to create an amazing world of wizardry for the kids. It was a beautiful day, and we had a fantastic turnout. All of our booth games were wizard-inspired, and students were encouraged to dress in costume. This event was so successful thanks to the many volunteers who helped out both behind the scenes and during the event. Our silent auction raised over $4,000, and our total profit for our event was over $7,500, which was by far our best, most successful year. We were excited about that. This one shows just some of the decorations. The night before, we had many, many volunteers this year come out the night before and help create this wizarding world for the kids. And the kids were very thrilled when they showed up the next day to the event. And then we wanted to show off our amazing staff who also got into the theme for our Lincoln Street School Halloween parade. They dressed as various characters from Harry Potter as well. The kids loved it. One of the other fundraisers that we do is we sell spiritware through one of a local business, U.S. Sports and Apparel. We sell everything from t-shirts to socks, and the kids they wear them with pride. This is some pictures from the Apple Fest parade where we had a pretty good turnout of marching. And then we wear them throughout the year at different spirit events that we hold at school, or if we go to like a Worcester Railers game, we'll all wear our Lincoln Street School gear and show our pride. Restaurant Nights has been a really successful fundraiser for us over the past few years. It's a great way to bring our Lincoln Street School families together for a fun dinner with familiar faces. Each year, these nights have continued to be a significant part of our fundraising, thanks to the generosity of our local businesses and restaurants. We wanted to thank Rohit Rana. He's been setting up our restaurant nights for the past couple years. Already this year we've done Dean Park in Shrewsbury. We've done Not Your Average Joe's. Our churros was very successful. And then in December we have Town Center Pizza and Casa Vallarta, who is always very generous to the Lincoln Street School. One of our other major fundraisers is our book fair. We host 2 book fairs, one in the fall and one in the spring. We hosted the fall book fair November 18th through the 22nd. Nicole Green, along with a dedicated team of volunteers, worked the book fair all throughout conference week. And we anticipate our total for the fall book fair to be about $1,500. And for the year, we hope to make about $2,500 between the 2 book fairs. One important piece of our mission for the Lincoln Street School PTO is to bring our families together for fun experiences. In November, we had Claytime from Shrewsbury put on a creative, fun-filled night. They came to the cafeteria and set up great ornament painting event, and the kids enjoyed being creative and painting with their friends. Even parents got in on the fun. Next week we're hosting Game Right Game Night, and this company provides demo games, and you can just, they send you the games and the families can just come to the cafeteria, practice playing the games, and then we also have them for sale, and they donate 20% of the purchases back to the PTO. And then we're combining it with a restaurant night, so if you wanted to get takeout from Town Center Pizza that night, and then you can bring it to the cafeteria and you can have dinner and play games. All kind of just a fun event for our students and families. February, we're going to host our bingo night, which is always well attended and a very fun family event. And this year we're going to do our second luau, which was a free event that we were able to offer for the families last year. Beth Rodney, again, she had done some amazing decorations and really made it very festive. The kids all dressed up in luau style attire. There was a DJ, and it was a really memorable and fun event for our families. And then We've also been teaming up with the Worcester Railers and the Worcester Bravehearts, and we can go and we'll get group tickets and we'll attend a hockey game or a baseball game. And again, just another fun time where the kids get to go sit with their friends and the families and watch the baseball game and just things like that. We're really trying to gear towards creating the community and getting our families together for fun events. Let's see. So then where does our money go? One of the largest parts of our budget is our enrichment programs. We provide each grade level with at least one curriculum-aligned program, and then we also have a few all-school events for students to enjoy. The Discovery Museum in Acton, I work with them a lot to provide, for K through 4th, we work with Discovery Museums, and they have a traveling science program that comes to the school, and really just some really high-level fun experiments. The teachers and students find it really engaging. Museum of Science has Star Lab that comes and does a great program for the 5th graders. And then some of the other programs, the New England Percussion Ensemble comes every year, and that's an all-school event. We had the Mark student presentations this year. The Pumpernickel Puppets comes, and he does a great puppet show for incoming kindergartens. We invite them towards the end of May usually. And then the current kindergarten and the 1st grade, they all get to watch. He's very animated and does a great job. Bugworks comes for kindergarten, and then we brought the Freedom Trail to the 5th grade, and they have Freedom Trail players that come and present to the 5th grade. So that's a fun part. That's a way for us to, work the curriculum in and give the kids a little extra something besides the traditional field trip, which they still go on. Let's see. Another piece of our budget is grants. We have projected budget of about $4,000 for the teacher grants this year. This line item has grown over the years in both amount and demand. We have been very fortunate to be able to support our creative and thoughtful teachers by awarding nearly 100% of the grants that they have requested. These are just the few that have been requested so far this year. Everything from book organization for the book room that benefits all grades K through 5. The music program, they got percussion equipment to benefit the 5th grade band. Kindergarten has a few different equipment needs that they were able to get for the children, and the OT teacher also has a curriculum bundle that was going to benefit all of the grade levels. So these will come in whenever they feel like it. They can roll in throughout the year, and then we vote on them as a board, and we've been able to approve many over the past few years. One of our other favorite parts as a PTO is teacher appreciation. Throughout the year, we enjoy showing our teachers and staff how much we appreciate them, and we wanted to thank Jen Dane for chairing our hospitality efforts. This year, the teachers enjoyed a back-to-school ice cream from Almond's Ice Cream Truck, came on the professional day before the kids arrived. And then we also catered a back-to-school luncheon to welcome them back. And then during conference week in November, we hosted an appreciation luncheon where our parents provided yummy food and desserts for our staff. And next week will be our very popular cookie buffet, where our teachers and staff will take home an assortment of delicious treats donated by the Lincoln Street School families. And we'll do another teacher appreciation luncheon in the spring around conferences again. We also find that giving back to the community is something that Lincoln Street School feels very strongly about. The Helping Hands Backpack Drive, we always donate. We order those supply kits for the grades, and based on the numbers per grade, we donate various kits for the backpack drive. We also took part in the winter gear drive, and we had bins overflowing outside of the office with people donating gently used winter gear for the kids. Applefest Entertainment, we work with the other PTOs, and we sponsor the entertainment that they host on the Thursday night prior to when the weekend kicks off. In the winter, we do a Super Bowl. I think it's Mrs. Rollins runs the Super Bowl, and the PTO helps provide, transport all the food that has been donated to the food pantry. And then, like the other schools, we take part in the Bay State Textiles, which also gives to the recycling, and we get a check from them every month based on how much we've put in the bin. And then this year, our student council in the 5th grade has chosen Be Like Brit as their charity to support. And they will do fundraising through bake sales and other events to help raise money for this local charity. And they're actually going to come and speak to the 5th graders next week to kind of talk about their charity and just kind of make it more apparent to them why they're earning, raising the money and where the money will go for that charity. Their theme this year is perseverance, and that's what they chose. This is just a financial summary. Basically, what we make our most money on is fun day, restaurant nights. We do a readathon, the book fair, school pictures, base day textiles, and then our where we spend our money is mostly enrichments, grants, classroom funding supplies, field trip subsidies, and hospitality. Our working budget is usually around $16,000, and while we have a structured budget that reflects the previous year's income, we also have some reserve that we have been able to use to support larger grants, like last year's iPads and carts for the 1st grade. And this year we were able to support, Mrs. Whalen wanted a very nice rug for the music room that she'd been waiting for, and we were able to help her get that. She was very, very happy about it. And then as far as our communication, we like keeping the Lincoln Street School families in the loop. Each week we write a Tuesday Topics, which is a weekly email, basically giving them all the information they would need for what's coming up, links and attachments that they would need. The principal's newsletter. As you know, PTO would be nothing without its volunteers. We work hard to keep our families in the loop about what's happening and how they can help. Our weekly email or Tuesday Topics is our most consistent and best method for getting our information out there. Our principal, Ms. Wright, has also helped us get our info out through her weekly emails. And on social media, we have had a great response to posts on Facebook. And our motto is always, the more communication, the better. So we try any avenue that we can think of to communicate what's happening. And then, thank you from the PTO. We feel very fortunate at Lincoln Street School for the amazing and dedicated teachers and staff. We are very thankful for so many involved and supportive families. And we thank all of you on the school committee and the school board for your continued support for our students. Thank you.
Thank you. We should be thanking you for all the hard work you do and the dedication you have to our students. It really helps us do what we need to do. And we thank you again for all your work.
Melissa and Melanie, thank you so much for everything that you do. And please take it back to your board and every other member that helps. I mean, just thinking in the budget, as we're working on the budget for, FY21, knowing that $16,000 is into there helps us so much, and even helps every town member also, because that's extra money that you're giving, and it's going right back to the kids, it's going right back to the staff. And I was really thrilled to hear how you're getting the kindergarten students to be so, I know they're always so anxious to come to school, but to have them to participate in a puppet show right even before they enter the school, it just gets them so enthused and makes them to be part of the Lincoln Street family that you have. So thank you very much for everything that you did, and great success on your fun day. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
That really was. That was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then on behalf of the district, I'd like to thank you as well for all the value that you bring to your work, and it makes a difference at Lincoln Street School, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Would truly be lost without them, because they are the heart and soul of Lincoln Street School for sure, and we're very fortunate for all that they do for our faculty and our students. So thank you.
Thank you.
I need my notes. I want the kids here. Okay. So it's hard to believe that I'm here again in December. I feel like I just did the update in June, and I was celebrating the end of a school year, and now I feel like we're well underway, and already had 2 snow days, so lots to celebrate. So this is our updated school improvement plan, and we have some new council members this year, which I won't read all of their names, but this really is a continuation of the plan that was, that I updated you on last spring, and we've made some nice connections to keep the work going for the next 2 years as well. For the purpose of this plan, it was built around the Vision 2020 and the focus areas of communication, curriculum, support services, and technology. And that was all taken into consideration as we planned this next plan. The basis of our work for everything that we do at Lincoln Street School is tied to our core values of be kind, be safe, be respectful, and be hard workers. And that's something that I think was clear tonight with our students, volunteers here, and demonstrating all that they do for us. So last year, in my first year as principal, it's kind of like, where do you begin? And we spent a lot of the year focusing on learning about the school community. And as a staff, we revisited the school mission statement to see how that connected to our work as educators. We unpacked that mission and made connections to what we do each day. And again, this begins a new year with a continued focus on meeting the diverse needs of our learners. So last year, we unpacked that mission, and we wanted to know how our students learned and what they would be able to do. So we connected the work to the mission and looked for a way to develop our students as self-directed learners, and that was really our focus last year. We initially looked at how students initiated, sustained, and completed work throughout the day. And then as a staff, we could look deeper into that, and we defined what optimal self-directed learning looked like and sounded like at its best for LSS students. And we started to weave that into our collaborative work throughout the year. So through our PLCs last year, staff meetings, and our professional development, we worked to develop our collective capacity to meet students' needs and to develop our students in all areas of learning. And this work will continue this year. So we set the stage for this year, and our first goal this year is the Lincoln Street School will expand upon and refine our data analysis at the classroom, grade, and school level to respond to the diverse learning needs of our students and to drive instruction. So that has been our work so far. And what exactly does this look like? The LSS staff will engage in regular calibration meetings in the content areas of reading, writing, and math to ensure that the evaluation of student work is consistent across grade level and content-specific scoring rubrics. So in our grade level planning meetings, we're looking to work collaboratively to analyze assessment data and to identify actions to address gaps in student learning. So we have it broken up into, we've built our schedule where we have PLC built, professional learning community time built into our schedule, where teachers meet in grade level teams with with myself, with the reading specialist, and with the math coordinator. So we have it built up into a schedule where they're meeting with me, with myself, and the reading specialist 1 week, identifying a goal or an area that would like to focus on, planning what the response to the intervention will look like in the classroom, going back into the classroom and trying it out in like a 2-week cycle. Same for math, where we're meeting as a math team, going over the areas of need, going back to the classroom and trying things out, and that's a cycle that we'll just keep continuing throughout the year. So we're looking at various data points throughout the year, looking at student work, having conversations about what's going well and things that may not be going well, and then working through that. And through those conversations and looking at that work, we're looking at the assessments that we're giving, we're looking at the tiered support that we're focusing on. And this year, we're really going to focus on the data that we're collecting in the area of math and our response to the students' needs in the area of math. And then looking at how we're reaching out to students and meeting their needs in that area. So we're taking an inventory of all the data sources that are used in that area. Throughout our student support team process, where teachers come together to address concerns that they may have with specific students' needs, we did identify that there's also a great need for the growing emotional needs of our students, and we will be continuing our work with the social thinking curriculum, as well as looking at a positive behavior approach to support our whole school positive climate, as well as the individual recognition that we give to our students each day. This is something that has been going on, and we're expanding what that looks like in the school. Our fifth grade school student council is also helping with this messaging to our students and providing the vocabulary, the consistent vocabulary across the school by making bulletin boards, talking with students, making videos for our Friday video announcements. So we're really connecting it to the student work as well. This year, the 4 elementary schools are also fortunate enough to partner with Dr. Craig Murphy to develop a multi-tiered systematic approach to social and emotional learning. And we actually had our first professional development day with all 4 elementary schools, and it was a great hit. The teachers really enjoyed it. They felt that there's a need with the climate right now in the schools and the students' needs, and they're eager for more. So on Friday, I think it is Friday, we come together, the 4 elementary schools, so we have a social emotional team in each school that will be coming together to work with Dr. Murphy to put some systems into place where this team will share case studies from each school, and then we'll have some strategies to bring back to the schools and then pilot and work out with our with the teachers. So this is something we're excited about. The teachers are excited about. There's a great need for this. So that's something that we're excited to be working with. So it's just having these deeper conversations, the collaborative learning process amongst the staff, and then just how this all connects to the needs of our students has been super important work, super time consuming, and but very important. So that is our first goal, and it's not an easy goal, so it takes a lot of time. So our second goal, you got to see in action tonight, and I think that the student presentation speaks volumes about the work that we're doing with technology. So our second goal at Lincoln Street School for the next 2 years will be to provide high-quality instruction and engaging learning opportunities in the areas of science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, STEAM, that are aligned with the Massachusetts curriculum framework. So I have some cool tools up here that we'll be looking at, which are pretty exciting. So throughout the year, we're going to continue to evaluate the learning opportunities, the lessons, the assessment tools, and student outcomes found in the Carolina Science curriculum units that we have in action right now at school. We are going to be looking at the standards and applying the engineering and design process found in the Museum of Science, EIE units, and other inquiry-based learning opportunities within the classrooms. We're utilizing the DLLs like Mrs. Bunzik, who presented tonight. She's one of our digital literacy leaders in the school, so to support the integration of technology into the classrooms. And as you can see, she's done an amazing job partnering with the teachers and getting the technology into the hands of the teachers and the students, and really connecting it to the standards and the work that we're doing, that the teachers are doing each day. We are hoping to design an innovation center or space within the Lincoln Street School. So we have our current computer lab, which doesn't have any computers actually in it because we have carts that are in the classrooms. So we're just looking to have that space built or an area where classes can go and use these tools and plan different STEAM activities where they don't have to break them down to move on to a next activity. It isn't going to be a separate place that people go to learn, but a place, an additional space in the school where they can really kind of expand what they're doing in the classroom and have the space to do so and not have to worry about cleaning up and taking it all apart. So we are using that also to store our science kits and just have this great space for the kids to go. So we got to have that be in action last week with our second grade classrooms the day before Thanksgiving break, where they came together to try out some of these technology tools that we were able to purchase with our money from a grant that we received from the Education Foundation. And so they were practicing using these robots and doing some coding within the classrooms. And it's really cool. You can see them in the pictures here. First off, the teachers had a professional development day where teachers and aides were learning about how to use these tools. And that was a half day that they really appreciated the time to try out the tools and think about how they might be used in their classroom. They did each go back and plan how they will integrate this into the classroom, into the work that they're already doing with the students. And then second grade did pilot this and tried out a few tools, as I said before Thanksgiving, and they had a ton of fun doing so. So they're actually working together in partners in coding, and they can get these things working better than I can at this point. We also have the Bebot juniors here that these also are coding that our younger students use in kindergarten, and they're able to program these to do things as well. And another tool that we have is the Makey, which allows students to practice learning about electricity and wiring and circuitry, and it just pretty much turns anything that into like a keyboard that they can, different conductors that they can use to set up any type of keyboard that they want. So just a lot of innovation in design and creativity. So these are great tools that we're very lucky to have in our schools. So another important piece of technology that has been super important this year is how we're using the different apps to communicate with our families of our students, our L students. This has been a huge help in the office where Mrs. Flanagan and Mrs. Mayo are able, and the teachers are able to send messages to the families, and it's translated for them. It's been a lifesaver, a game changer, and we look forward to continuing to have these opportunities. So lots of exciting things happening. I feel like it's really been an extension of what we were starting to do last year. And, you know, we have different opportunities continuing throughout the year, so a lot of work to be done through the PLCs, working together with the teachers and looking at how we're meeting the students' needs in the academic areas, but then tying in all of these STEM and STEAM activities as well. So it's been a lot of fun, and it's nice to see how it's all coming together in my second year.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, okay. Thank you very much for this concise improvement plan, and it's nice to have it. I know it just seems like June was just a couple months ago. But first of all, I like to see the inclusion of a community representative who's also a parent, but I think a community representative was always very important into the school council membership. And even if Tim is a parent, it's good to see that he has it as the whole community involved also.
Yeah, he's excited to join. You know, he's thinking of as a parent and then as a community member, and then just the next steps in planning for future projects within our schools as well. So he's excited to be part of the community.
And thank all the members that are on it that are giving their times, from the teachers to the parent representatives. I had a question on goal number 1.
Sure.
What kind of assessment, you talk about grade level teams will work collaboratively to look at assessment data. What type of assessment data do you use?
So that ranges from grade to grade. So most recently we've been looking at the different, the various literacy data that we have, and looking at the groupings that we're making within the classroom to meet the needs of the students. We work closely with Liz Matthews on that, our reading specialist, to look at what, based on the data that we're collecting within the classrooms, what that looks like in the classroom, as well as the services that she's providing, and then it's been useful information, whether it be the BAS assessment or the Dibbles assessment, the writing assessments, looking at that, collecting that data, what it looks like in the planning, and then the collection of the data has been very useful as students, if we begin to have students who are struggling and looking at how to best meet their needs over the years and going back and looking at the data to see how they've made progress or haven't made progress over the years, and using that to drive the interventions that we put in place and the steps that we take to meet their needs.
And you said that, thank you very much, and you said that this is on a 2-week cycle, that you look at this data?
So we meet every week. It's built into their schedule, so the teachers have a block of time. So we are meeting, for example, we might meet for literacy 1 week and come up with a plan of something that they're going back to try or look at in the classroom. Then they technically have an off week or a week where they're going back to implement something in the classroom to collect more data on. Then we follow the same cycle with math, where we're meeting as a team to discuss the needs, making a plan for something to go back and try and action in the classroom to collect that, and that cycle continues. So it is planned every single week, but the focus changes each week.
And so you would have more flexible grouping than you'd have static grouping, right? Because it would be according to the needs of the students. Let's say if you're doing word problems, you know, so there might be a student who's having trouble with that, but can do the calculations and the computations. So you may have a student that just comes in for some remediation on word problems, but not so much in the computation.
Right, and Mr. Olson, we just had it on his meeting today, and we looked at some of the MCAS math data, and over the past 2 years, looked at what that looks like in the classroom, meeting the needs of the students in the classroom, and then we worked with Maggie McGinty to look at next steps and the groupings in the classroom, what that might look like, possibly looking at using the workshop model in the classroom, and then maybe even toying with the idea of sharing kids amongst the 2 fifth-grade classrooms to meet the diverse needs through sharing kids from classroom to classroom.
I know it's a lot of work for teachers, but I think it's very dynamic. I mean, because you're not pigeonholing kids into one group and making them static and know September they're in a grouping and they're going to be there all the way until the end. And this way, I know it's a lot of work that you have to do with that data, but it's very, very important. Businesses do it, and I think it's important in education because you can reach all the kids and pigeonhole where they're having their difficulties.
Yeah.
And my last question was on goal number, I'm still on goal number 1.
Yeah.
Talking about, you partnered with Dr. Craig Murphy, and you were talking about the social emotional learning. Is there a certain program that Dr. Murphy has, and what is the background? Is he from a college around here, or?
Amy, help me out. You're better with his background. Amy brought him into the district.
He works out of the Fuse Center in Franklin, Massachusetts. He partners with the Collaborative, FICO Collaborative. He has worked in Newton Public Schools for over 10 years. So he has a wide variety of experiences. He also teaches at William James University and has done work with Ross Green, who wrote Lost in School. So he has a big background. I worked with him in Franklin. He came to us and partnered with us where we created kind of an offshoot from our student support team and created a BEST team, which was a team of people that would look at students with social and emotional needs, create intervention for their needs. So we partnered with him for a grant this year here in Northborough. And we're going to be working on some collaborative problem solving, ways to just sit down and talk to kids, create relationships, rather than almost restorative justice in a sense.
Thank you for that background. And it's nice to see that all the elementary schools are doing this. So when the kids come up into the middle school, they all have those tools, the same tools. It's not, different programs in the social emotional learning. So thank you for bringing that in.
And he is a great presenter. When he met with the 4 elementary schools, it's hard to captivate a crowd that big, and he was able to hold their attention, and the teachers were hungry for more, and it's a real need that we have in our buildings, and we're excited for the next step this week, where we're going to be meeting in a smaller team with our school psychologists and our behavior specialists within the buildings, as well as the principals, and looking at different cases in our buildings, and then the tools that we can bring back to the teachers and give them what they're looking for.
Okay. Thank you for the vibrant and learning education plan, and take your congratulations back to all your members and staff.
Item on our agenda this evening will be the K-8 Technology STEM update.
So we're fortunate this evening to have Julie Doyle, Director of Instructional Technology and Digital Learning, share an update on STEM and technology. And we just, Julie and her team just finished a STEM month.
We did.
And it was very successful, so we'll be hearing about its success tonight.
Yeah, and you've already actually heard about some of it from Jennifer, so there's going to be a little bit of overlap. So we are really fortunate enough in Northborough with the support of the school district as well as the Northborough Education Foundation that students and teachers have access to a wide variety of devices and online platforms for use in the classroom. The technology department, I also want to mention, continues to leverage the E-rate program, and most recently we purchased new servers and updated servers in all the Northborough schools. And this update will increase the speed and the reliability of the network. So by putting these systems in place, these systems and tools in place, we really feel as if teachers are ready to integrate technology and enhance the learning experience. And we as a department, we know how important it is to prepare the students for a technology-rich future, but we try to promote the use of technology to do things that they weren't able to do before, to really sort of transform the learning. So what I'd like to do is to share some of those valuable technology integration projects that are going on in all the Northborough schools. And I'm going to start with some communication and collaboration tools. Canvas is our learning management system that we're using in grades 6 through 12, both in Northborough and Southborough. We are in the second year of using Canvas here at the middle school, and we're in the third year of using Canvas at the high school. Canvas has, you ask, well, how is Canvas transforming the learning? One of its major benefits is it gives teachers the ability to provide very timely and valuable feedback for the students, and that really helps in the learning process. It helps teachers and students stay organized. It helps provide more opportunities for differentiated learning and personalized learning. If students are absent, it gives them the ability to stay on track, or if they've missed, a fair amount of school. Parents can use Canvas to get daily updates if they want on assignments and grades. And teachers are able to collaborate really well with Canvas and save time. As they transition from semester to semester or year to year, they're able to save all of their course materials and sort of enhance those moving forward. This is an example of a 7th grade social studies assignment in Canvas, and I thought I'd share that with you because to me this is another example of the use of technology to sort of transform the learning. So it's an online discussion, and online discussions to me are valuable in that you hear the sort of the answer and the voice of every student, whereas in a classroom discussion, most of the time you hear from the students who raise their hands and get called on. But with an online discussion, it's required that all the kids give a response and that all the kids comment on someone else's response. So there's this sort of online dialogue, which is important for feedback. It's also preparing them for the online learning that they'll see in high school and college. So this was, I thought it was a good assignment in that they were analyzing and examining artifacts. And so it says historians, I know it's small, hard to read. Historians analyze sources in order to answer questions about the past. You examined artifacts used by 7th graders at Millikan Middle School. What are you able to learn by looking at these primary sources? So they have to write a whole paragraph about what they learned about what are 7th graders at Millikan Middle School like. Google Classroom is another example of sort of a communication and collaboration tool. It's a little bit like a watered down Canvas learning management system and more age appropriate. It's being used in a lot of the elementary schools with teachers, mostly grades 3 through 5. It's another tool that helps with collaboration. It helps students and teachers stay organized. Students can stay on track if they've missed school. I had a conversation with a 3rd grade teacher who was telling me how helpful it is for her to introduce sort of logging into the Chromebook as well as logging into Google for her 3rd graders, and to access all the other Google learning tools, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. She said it's also very easy for her to share links to websites with her 3rd graders because they can't really be expected to go out and search and find relevant and appropriate classroom material. So she said it's really been a game changer for her. Another communication and collaboration tool that's being used in the schools is Seesaw. And Seesaw does a variety of things. It allows students, I think, to show what they know in a lot of different ways. It gives teachers better insight about student progress, and it gives families a little bit of a window into the classroom. So I have a couple of examples of things that were posted on a teacher's Seesaw page. This example down here are some very proud 1st graders who had just completed some project, and I'm sorry, but I don't know what the project was. But the teacher was very quickly able to take their picture, see that little guy just sort of so proud of his project, and share that with families right away. So in the middle of the day, families get a quick notification, and hey, they see what's going on in the classroom. This was an assignment where the kids had to describe different types of text. So the kids very easily can use iPads. They snap a picture of what they're doing. They can annotate the picture, or sometimes they can make a recording. So I do have a recording of 2 other assignments, and I'm going to try to play them. So this is a description of a multiplication problem that a student is doing, and she's using a new strategy. And to me, to hear that description and her analysis of how to do that problem is gaining better insight for the teacher and providing more sort of richer feedback for them, as opposed to just looking at a multiplication problem done on a worksheet. So let's play this and see if it'll work.
This is the demonstration of 6 times 7. You break the 6 apart into 5 and 1, and then you go down and do 6 times 7, and then go to parentheses 5, 7, 5 times 7, and this plus 1 times 6.
So she goes on to finish that. As I could tell, there's other kids in the background also recording, so it's a little bit of a challenge to find the right space for that.
So,
this other little video was a recording of a 2nd grader. The 2nd grade teacher asked the 2nd graders to sort of record their goals and things that they're proud of for this year, and then she shared with the parents, and she said how appreciative the parents were. And so this is a 2nd grader's glows and grows.
My glows are friendship, artwork, morning walk. My glows are finish work, try not to be perfect, spelling.
I like those last two.
I like spelling.
Yeah.
Spelt wrong.
Try not to be perfect.
I love it.
All right. So now I just want to talk about a couple of tools, not so much collaboration and communication tool, but hands-on learning. So these are pictures of kids engaging in using virtual reality headsets and also an augmented reality app. So the augmented reality is this picture in the middle, and this was used by a physical education teacher, and she teaches an enrichment class where they learn about health and wellness. And he's very excited, very engaged. These students are using the virtual reality headsets, and these headsets allow kids to, like when I said transform the learning, they allow them to visualize and understand things in a way that they couldn't before. It's much richer than just looking at a picture in a text. So having spoken to a few of the teachers who are using these, some examples of curriculum integration, students were studying states, and so they were able to go and do like a virtual tour of a state. They were studying national parks, so they did a virtual tour of a national park. They were able to see NASA and the space station when they were studying their solar system unit. So it's really engaging for the students, and it gives them this sort of whole 360-degree immersive experience. So, as Jennifer was mentioning, and it has come up a few times, how is it that we've been helping with STEM integration? And as you know, there are an increasing amount of job opportunities in STEM fields. And this year, Greg had mentioned our involvement in STEM Week. So the Massachusetts Executive Office of Education promoted their second annual STEM Week. And that was to boost interest, awareness, and ability for all learners to envision themselves in STEM. So it's a really great opportunity for teachers in the district to sort of get their feet wet. But what we're trying to promote and encourage is that teachers sort of try to build in regular STEM activities into all content areas. And I think what Sandy described tonight with her students was a great example of that. You know, she's teaching technology and coding, but in ELA at the same time. So I think it's so hard for teachers to think about, oh, wait, I have to teach one more thing on top of all these other things. But if we can encourage and teach them how to sort of just change slightly what they're doing and to embed it into sort of pre-existing curriculum, I think that they'll find that that's a little bit more doable. So as Jennifer mentioned, we're doing some teacher PD, and we have visited 3 of the elementary schools in Northborough. We were supposed to go to Peasley on Monday, but we had a snow day, so that's been postponed. But we're teaching the teachers to use these tools and giving them some strategies to embed it into the classroom. And we were fortunate enough to be awarded a grant from the Northborough Education Foundation to get these tools. So that's been fantastic. There are some teachers who are very excited to be learning about DASH. And it was great to give them the time to sort of try it themselves before they tried it in the classroom. So the different types of STEM curriculum that we're trying to promote, and that some of this has already been going on, as Sandy talked about coding with Scratch and Scratch Junior. And we've done that a few times. Scratch and Scratch Junior are both free, and I remember a couple of kids after working with them in the classroom, they asked if it was free, and I said, yeah, and they go, can we do this at home? And I thought, well, yeah, that's great. How often do what you're doing in school, the kids are so excited to do it at home. So, so yeah, we're hoping that this sort of becomes more of a regular occurrence, and it's definitely happening in pockets. And I think with more training and just to see how engaged the students are. Here's some more pictures. These are very similar to Jennifer's pictures. So in this picture down here, these students are using this little guy, the B-Bot, and they're retelling a story. So they're learning about sequencing and storytelling, and these two are collaborating on a Scratch Junior project, and these two are very proud of how they coded the Dash robot to perform some task. We were lucky enough too, during that sort of STEM month, the high school robotics team visited all the elementary schools, and they explained all about robotics, how robotics are used in the real world, and they talked about the robots that they build, and they really were fantastic. They pretty much ran the whole demonstration, and along with their coach, who now is helping in the Northborough Elementary Schools, Dan Strickland, who used to teach at the high school. He actually taught at the middle school as well, but he's been a really valuable resource through all this sort of STEM coaching and integration. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is this idea of the sort of along the lines of what Sandy was talking about, but at both the state and national level, there's a real push for more computer science education. And the past few years, there's a specific week in December where teachers are encouraged to just try a coding activity. It's called the Hour of Code. Sandy and some other teachers in the district have taken that and run with it in a great way. But there are a ton of really great online resources that allow teachers to do this with kids without having a ton of training. There's self-guided activities, and so, you know, as most of us know, technology really is transforming almost every industry, and it's just so important for us to provide our kids with the necessary skills that they'll need for success.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. And just as we hear from foreign language, that the sooner we can start involving the kids and immersing them into something new, even if it's a foreign language, this better off they're going to be, and they'll learn it, and it becomes just part of their life. And knowing that the kids that were even here tonight, and even what you're showing, and they're doing coding and starting it so early, I think that any type of those experiences that we give to them are very valuable. And especially bringing the robotics team down from the high school and knowing they went all the way through the schools, and Dan Strickland also was involved. That's absolutely wonderful, because you never know whose interest you're going to peek into that. And it's nice to see the collaboration of high school coming down to the elementary and to the middle school. So thank you very much for the very concise and very pertinent and up-to-date curriculum update. So thank you very much. Thanks for all your good work.
Next item on our agenda will be the legislative update.
So on November 26th, Governor Baker signed the new Student Opportunity Act into law, and which will provide $1.4 billion of additional funding to education over a 7-year period. So we are monitoring the landscape to see how that will impact our district. The Opportunity Act really is about shifting and supporting communities that have been underfunded in public education for many years. Northborough is not one of those communities, so it will be interesting to see how it and if it impacts us in a positive manner. Mm-hmm. So more information to follow as we get new information.
Great, thank you. The next item on our agenda is approval of grants and donations.
So the Lincoln Street School received a very generous donation of $100 to support Lincoln Street School's art program, so we need a vote to accept.
No, sorry, no, I'm just kidding.
Do we know who the donation is from?
We do.
We do.
1 second.
That's okay. That's all right.
And we will.
Okay.
I have the
Will you
current
be sending a letter out to them on our behalf?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
This was a private donation, is that what it was?
It is. Now I'm drawing a blank. It's one of our students' grandmothers who
Oh, nice.
is just very impressed with the artwork that she's been doing, and she said there's only so many coffee mugs or things that she can buy, and she'd just like to give back to the art program because she just loves what her
That's
granddaughter's
sweet.
doing.
That's wonderful.
Yes. Was there anything else?
So it's Pat Brewster.
Yes, Maddie Brewster's friend, yeah.
Joan? I'd like to vote for approval and with much gratitude for the $100 donation from Pat Brewster to the Lincoln Street Schools Art Program, and that there would be a letter from the school committee thanking Pat.
I second that.
Do we have is it generically to the art program? Was there any specific thing that was intended for?
She just said for the
art
art
program?
yep.
Great, thank you.
Nice.
So the letter, I'll read the letter that she sent. It says, "As I mentioned in my email, I'm very impressed with your art program. I would like to make a donation to help buy supplies. I hope you can accept it. I feel our teachers need all the help they can get. Keep up the good work."
Very nice.
It's wonderful.
And who's your art teacher?
Jen Hackenberg.
And
she was
there's all
thrilled.
different-
She was so excited.
yeah.
So, yes, and I know that Ms. Brewster had attempted to give a donation last year as well, and Jen wasn't sure if she could accept it and sent it back. So she said she really wanted us to take it this year. So we're
Great.
very lucky to have that.
That's wonderful.
So we have a motion on the table and a second. So all those in favor? Great, thank you. Extend our thanks to Ms. Brewster. Great. The next item on our agenda is the superintendent's report to the committee, starting with enrollments.
Sure. In your packet, you have our enrollments for the month of November. We have, since August, increased by 15 students. And as of 11/18, our total enrollment is 1,599 students, K through 8. So we continue to monitor enrollments as we look forward to this year and also as we look to FY21. The highlighted in your packet are the classrooms that are at cap class size. Next in your packet is the FY20 monthly general fund expenditure report. And I will have Becky share some highlights.
So as you can see by the report, we have 1.55% of this year's budget remaining. I think you've heard me say in the previous months that we have encumbered many of the items that are known items. So we do feel compared to last year that we are right on track. Last year at this time we had 2.15% of the budget remaining. We are continuing to monitor some potential out-of-district special education costs and working closely with Marie and her team on that. But really there are no significant variances from last month.
Joan?
I move to accept the Northborough Public School District FY 2020 budget monthly, and we read that part yet? Monthly general fund expenditure report as of November 30th, 2019. Until audited. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Great, thank you.
So next in your packet is FY 2021 budget goal document that was voted in November, so that's for distribution. And we'll be talking more about our budget goals in the preliminary budget presentation. Also in your packet is the FY 21 capital plan that we reviewed at the November's meeting, and if it is the will of the committee, we need a vote to approve.
I move that we vote to approve the Northborough Public Schools FY 2021 to FY 2027 Facilities Capital Plan.
Do we have to vote the backside too?
No.
No?
I second the motion.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Great. Thank you.
And next in your packet is the FY21 budget calendar. So we continue to work collaboratively to create the FY21 budget. And I think the next key date in terms of the budget calendar is the December 12th, the financial trend monitoring meeting, which is held by Town Administrator John Kadare, and it gives a great overview of the financial landscape for the FY21 budget season. So that is an important event.
Usually, wasn't it on a Saturday?
It's usually a Thursday evening.
Oh, it is.
So
Where's that going to be held?
Appropriations.
the library,
Library.
Yep.
And is that going to be at 7?
7 o'clock.
Is this the one that was canceled?
No.
No?
I just thought it was on a Saturday last
Okay.
year. No, I remember going to it last year.
It's a financial,
I just thought it was on a Saturday.
the financial advisory is on a Saturday, and so.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity for us
It
to,
is.
connect with all of the boards and talk about the budget landscape in Northborough.
Great. One thing is the date for our operational budget subcommittee was not on a snow day, so we might want to
Correct. We
update
have
that to November 26th.
We've had a lot of date changes.
We've
with-
had some
with
date changes with the calendar.
The 2 snow days.
Yeah.
So.
What one do you want to change?
Our operational budget subcommittee, it says it was on December 3rd on our list here, but that was yesterday, and it's snow day, so that we had the meeting last Tuesday. Remember?
Oh, okay.
Tuesday before that.
Yeah, the 26th.
Correct. All right. Next item on the agenda is the preliminary budget presentation for FY21.
So I will attempt to connect to the wireless. So thank you. I'm happy this evening to present the FY 2021 preliminary budget. And before I begin, I just want to talk about the keyword preliminary. The budget is a process which begins early on in September and involves a lot of collaboration and discussion with town administrators, principals, educators, to create a plan moving forward. So this evening, we are a vision and mission organization. The work that we do really is about helping students achieve their goals and preparing them for the world of work, college, and career. So I think that, we saw some great examples this evening of excellence, thinking critically, students involved in problem solving, engaging in intellectual curiosity. Effective communication was on display this evening. And really, it's our mission to provide an exceptional educational experience for every student in a safe environment. And really, the budget is a means to an end. It helps us achieve our goals, whether the goals are our strategic plan, or our school improvement plan, or educator evaluation plan goals. So, the budget process starts early on in the school year. We actually start in September by reviewing the budget calendar and the budget goals. I think the budget goals are an essential document in terms of it's what the budget is trying to accomplish and achieve. In October, we have some preliminary budget discussions with the town administrator and leadership team. It is a collaborative approach, and the school is part of a larger Northborough context. So it's a very collaborative approach, working with the town and understanding what their parameters are. In November, we meet with a capital planning subcommittee to talk about the capital plan and talk about the goals we want to achieve in terms of the capital plan, which was distributed this evening. And the work that principals do in the central office in terms of working with their staff to create a budget, that work happens in November, and those are submitted early on in November in terms of what schools are hoping to accomplish and what they are thinking about in terms of the budget. And then in December, it's hard to believe that it is December. We review the preliminary budget with the operational budget subcommittee, talk about the financial landscape and the goals that we're trying to achieve. And then in December, we present the preliminary budget to the town and the school committee. And then what we can expect moving forward in January and March, we continue to monitor the financial landscape. Again, I mentioned the Opportunity Act, new legislation, and the changing of the foundation budget review funding formula. So really monitoring how that's going to impact our community and our educational budget. And then lastly, in between January and March, we present a recommended FY21 budget to the committee for a vote. And then in April, we have the public hearing, the school committee meeting, and then we bring the budget to the Northborough town meeting on April 27th. So there's a lot of opportunities for the community and educators to engage in the process moving forward. So this year, when we look at our FY21 budget, we always look at budget variables. We always begin the budget process thinking about what are the assumptions that we're moving forward with and what are the variables we're not clear about at this point in time. So one of the variables is increase to health insurance rates. Again, we're not sure what the rate increase will be. We do know that they are increasing, and we're waiting for more information so we can factor insurance rates into our budget plan. Contractual obligations, so we are in a negotiating year with the Northborough Teachers Association. So again, that is an ongoing process, and that is a variable that is not known at this point in time. We will have a better indication of what impact that will have on the operating budget in the end of January and beginning of February. I mentioned that the Student Opportunity Act and the Chapter 70 funding and new legislation, so that's an unknown variable. We also have two significant contracts up for renewal. The legal services contract is at the end of it's a 5-year contract and will need to be renewed for FY21, as well as our transportation contract. We are at year 5 of a 5-year contract, and we're in the process of going out for proposals and finding out what the impact will be on our overall budget. So again, the budget is a means to achieving goals, and we are a goal-oriented organization. And really, the budget goals for this year really are to continue to, support high-quality staff in our instructional programs and maintain class size and student-teacher ratios in accordance with the class size policy, I-240. Our goal is to meet the needs of all learners with instructional classroom models that are research-based and reflect best practices, expand professional development opportunities. We heard about some opportunities that teachers have been engaged in this evening from Jennifer as well as Julie, and make a significant impact on the work that happens with our students. And really an emphasis on social and emotional health of our students. Another goal is to maintain the district's capital assets with a special emphasis on safety and energy efficiencies. We're always looking at ways we can be more efficient with energy because those cost savings translate back into the work that we do with our students and being able to fund other programs. Ensuring that all students have an educational program that is consistent with the Massachusetts curriculum frameworks and that prepare all of our students for success in district and state assessments. And the last two goals are really meeting the state benchmarks and district educational technology and funding goals identified in our technology integration plan. And then lastly, to implement the transition plan to a tuition-free full-day kindergarten program. So these goals really drive the budget process and really are at the center when we think about what we're trying to accomplish with the FY21 budget. So what are some of the budget drivers that we're seeing in the FY21 preliminary budget? We were fortunate 3 years ago to receive a significant Metro West Health grant. We are actually seeing that sunset at the end of this year. So next year, it actually moves one of the grant-funded positions onto the operational budget. So that is one of the budget drivers. The tuition-free kindergarten plan, year 2, has a $100,000 investment. So that is a budget driver. So that moves us closer to having a tuition-free program in Northborough, tuition-free kindergarten program in Northborough. And lastly, one of the budget drivers that we're seeing is that we're seeing an increased number of students who require out-of-district placements. And specifically, we're seeing students who require not only day programs, but residential programs. So that's a large number. That's $496,873. But it only represents a small number of students who require that level of programming. And part of our mission and vision is educating all students, and that's a fiscal and educational responsibility that we have. So the total budget drivers for FY21, $666,672. So what are some of the budget offsets? So we receive circuit breaker reimbursement for some of our special education costs for out-of-district students. So this budget assumes that we're going to be using $1.3 million in circuit breaker from FY20 and FY21 to offset the FY21 budget. And we also have line item adjustments of $323,786. So the preliminary budget began with principals thinking about what they hope to accomplish. So we actually reduced from all of the wants and asks that we began with from the first budget run that happened the end of October. So the budget offsets that we're looking at for the FY21 budget is $1,623,786. So really, FY21 preliminary budget reflects a level services budget with growth in targeted areas. It really level services our staffing and our programs, with the exception of a few programs. So the preliminary FY21 budget is $25,924,086, which reflects an increase over the FY20 budget of $995,528, which reflects a 3.99% increase over FY20. And what are some of the growth areas that we're seeing in this in the FY21 preliminary budget? One of the areas is implementing year 2 of the tuition-free full-day kindergarten implementation plan. It also invests in a new student information system. The current student information system that we're using is antiquated, and the company that actually we're not sure what the long-term stability of that company is, so it's important to make a change when we're in control of that change and not in a crisis situation. So Julie and the technology team have been working on this plan for over a year. Instructional resources, so we're seeing some investment in our instructional resources, so math supplies, math materials, math textbooks, also some investments in technology, some investment in reading materials. And lastly, we're seeing this budget supports translation services. So Jen Suker presented our changing demographic, the diverse population that we're seeing in Northborough. And part of that changing demographic is seeing increased translations. So this budget actually reflects increased dollar amounts for translation services. So this budget really is a level services budget. It's allows us to continue enhancing and fine-tuning the programs, and continues the staffing levels that we are fortunate to have in our district. And I think, I think this is really about trying to maintain the high-quality programs that we have offered to our students in the community. So that is a preliminary budget. It is very early on in the budget process, and we'll continue to look at this very closely and work with the town, and we'll continue to monitor the fiscal landscape, both community level but also at the state level, and have many more conversations in terms of what we want the budget to look like and what goals we hope to achieve moving forward.
Great, thank you.
I have a question, Greg, on the budget drivers. The third one, when you talk about the increased number of students who require out-of-district placements, does that also include the transportation?
So that does not include the transportation. And Maria can talk about, we're seeing a trend across the Commonwealth, but also across Southborough and the region as well, that we have some students who require significant programming and residential programming, and that comes at a significant cost. So we have students who receive out-of-district placements that costs up to $350,000, which is significant. And depending on when that happens within the move-in, that can happen at a point where the budget has already been voted, and we have to absorb that money into the operational budget.
So, for clarification, so that number just represents the residential program versus somebody...
So this represents an increase in out-of-district costs.
Out-of-district.
It includes some of the residential places.
Some of the residential, okay.
All of the ones that we have now.
Yeah.
But what about where would transportation come? Because wouldn't that be another...
Separate line item.
But is that another budget driver or not that much?
So that is, it is a budget driver. It is, obviously it impacts our budget, but we have not seen a significant increase from FY20 to FY21.
Okay.
But
Okay.
with the Student Opportunity Act, one of the additions is that special education transportation will be eligible for circuit breaker reimbursement, where it has not been in the past. So that is one of the areas that we're watching very closely to see if that actually is implemented in year one of the new Student Opportunity Act.
Okay. And then my last closing thing is I would just like to thank the principals and the administration for all the programs that you have highlighted, just two of them, as Greg had mentioned, two of them tonight, because that helps to educate us when we have to go and present the budget before the town, or we spend the whole day with the financial planning, and they may ask us questions. So thank you for the time and effort that you have put together in your presentations and in your school improvement plans, because it helps us to be better educated and better informed. So thank you for your work, and the administration also. Thank you.
Thank you for all the hard work you've put into this. It's a very good preliminary budget. As you said, it's a work in progress, and it's a good starting place. And again, we'll thank the principals and all the administration for the collaboration and working together to get us in a good shape for the preliminary budget presentation.
And I think the presentations this evening were a good example of the outcomes that the budget helps us achieve. And it's really about giving students outstanding experiences and making sure they're prepared for the next grade level, college, and career. So.
Okay. Thank you. Right. The next item on the agenda, we have educational policy, not at this time. We have a policy development and distribution. We have a second reading and a distribution of review policy.
So in your packet is the, just So it's a second reading of the bullying prevention and intervention policy A150. So that is our second read of this policy. And I'm going to recommend that we not vote this policy because we were going to discuss that at our policy subcommittee meeting, which will take place in January. Next in the policy is distribution of reviewed policy. So the policy subcommittee reviewed the duties of the recording secretary to the school committee, so it's marked as reviewed. There were no changes to that policy.
The next item on the agenda is audience sharing. Do you have any members of the audience who would like to share this evening?
All of our schools have parent-teacher conferences at the elementary level in late November, so just thanking our families for coming out, partnering with our teachers, setting goals for students, discussing progress. It was really nice to see how many parents and guardians came out on behalf of their students and to meet with teachers. Our 4th and 5th graders at Proctor will be wrapping up next week Boston versus Bullies, which is an organization for the 4 Massachusetts sports teams that comes out and meets with students in grades 4 and 5 and talks about how to be an upstander and ways that they can, help their friends and how to speak up and advocate. And it's been very positively received by the students and the teachers that have attended. The presenter has been great, very dynamic, engaging with the students. We have one more session next Tuesday with her. And we are excited at Proctor with our PTO. We kicked off our after-school enrichment opportunities. So we have opportunities available to students in the areas of STEM and yoga and a writer's club. So we've been getting students actively signing up, and we're going to start that after the winter break. So we're very excited.
So just before Thanksgiving break, we had the Massachusetts Aggression Reduction Center come to Peaslee to present an anti-bullying program. They did 3 presentations, one for K1, one for 2-3, and then 4-5 together. One of the most important parts of the presentation was what is bullying and what is not bullying, because sometimes bullying is a little bit of an overused word and used to describe any kind of conflict or upset. Students heard about being eggers, so bystanders who perhaps encourage some poor behavior on their peers' part. It was very interesting, and the kids were they were riveted to the presenter, so it's very nice to see. Today, our 2nd graders enjoyed States of Matter, an enrichment program that was sponsored by the Peaslee PTO. They were very excited about that. On Monday evening, we'll have a PTO program, Paint Your Own Pottery, at 6:30. It was originally scheduled for this Monday, but obviously we did not come to Peaslee to paint pottery. So we changed the date on that. On December 11th, next week, we will have the 2nd grade Family Heritage Celebration, which was also rescheduled from this week. It's always a really fun time, so if you are free at 9:15 on December 11th, feel free to come join us and check out the family shields, which are a big part of that presentation. And on December 19th, grade 4 will have their annual holiday show at 6:30 p.m., and that involves songs, cookies, and cocoa.
Good.
I'm good.
Z also participated in the MARC presentations on bullying prevention for the grade 3 grade spans as well. We also partnered with Proctor and did the musical info, what do we call it? Informants, which was great. It was held at Proctor, and the bands came together and kind of highlighted their work, but also just kind of informing parents on what they're learning and what they're experiencing in music. So that was really great to watch. This past Saturday night, Z families and I believe other schools in Northborough went to the Worcester Railers as a PTO event across Northborough. The fifth grade at Z has organized a fundraiser tomorrow night at the Northborough House of Pizza for their end-of-year fifth grade events. As mentioned earlier, we begin our consult time with Dr. Craig Murphy this Friday, which will include the 4 Northborough Elementary School principals, behavior specialists, and school psychologists. Will attend that consult with him. This afternoon, it was a nice experience. My aides, paraprofessionals came to me about a couple of weeks ago and asked if they could partner with me to read Ross Green's book, Lost in School, which they learned that title and that work from the half-day PD with Dr. Craig Murphy. So I was able to purchase those books for them, and we're going to run their 6-hour PD with that book. And then tomorrow we have continuation of our PLCs, and our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade teachers, along with Mrs. McGinty, will kind of dig into what a math running record looks like and a student interview. So.
I think you guys covered it all. We too, at Lincoln Street School, had Mark in to do the anti-bullying presentation, and the kids really enjoyed that. And we've been working on weaving that vocabulary into our daily routines at school as well. We did partner with Peasley for our informants, and we had a fantastic performance by our 4th and 5th grade students, and it was great to see everyone come together, and it was a fun night. The PTO, as they mentioned, they had one of their, the Playtime Paint Night, which was a big success last week, I believe. And we also wrapped up our book fair, and that was our first fundraiser for our 5th grade, which they had their bake sale, and they will be making a donation to the Be Like Brit Foundation. And they will be coming in, Be Like Brit will be coming in to present to our 5th grade students to learn more about that organization. We're kicking it off with Dr. Murphy again on Friday, and on the 9th, Mrs. McGinty will be in for a full day to be working with the teachers at Lincoln Street School in the classrooms as a continuation for the work that we're doing in our PLCs, and we'll be spending some time getting in classrooms, seeing what's going on in classrooms, and then working with teachers in the areas that they have identified as a need. And at the end of the month, only 2 weeks out, we'll be wrapping up before Christmas break or the holiday break with the New England Percussion Ensemble coming in for a performance that is well enjoyed by everyone. And then we will wrap that up with a holiday sing-along with our school. So hard to believe we're already at the end of the year, end of the 2019.
That's crazy. Yep, I would love to share from the NSPAC. They had the CPAC Awareness Month was officially celebrated last night, and the CPAC board members from across Massachusetts gathered to celebrate CPAC Awareness Month, and a proclamation was signed by Governor Baker, and it was presented by State Representative Jim. What was the name?
The governor?
Nope. No. Assyrio? Akiriel? Joni, you're good with these.
Oh, yeah. Assyrio?
Assyrio? I'm going to go with Assyrio.
Okay, I like that one.
Sorry, State Representative. And it ensures that the support of the Special Education Advisory Councils under Massachusetts law, Chapter 71B, Section 3. So, it's good.
Nothing.
My update is master plan is to completion.
Wow.
We have our last public hearing, I believe. I think it's our last presentation and public hearing for the master plan will be Tuesday evening, December 10th at 7 in the library. So we've got they have, let me see what it says today about, the master plan is posted on the project website, and it also, I believe they'll have paper copies at the library and the senior center and town's clerk's office. So that's all out there.
Yep,
and
exciting.
It's exciting. You read through it and come to the public hearing and give feedback. And
So as the town is
finished their master plan. The school district is actually starting its reauthorization of a strategic plan. So we have a number of community sessions that I'd like to invite the Northborough community to. And the next one is January 7th next year, from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. at Algonquin Regional High School in the library. And the focus really will be on a portrait of a graduate, really thinking about the knowledge and skills of students who leave Algonquin. What do we hope the knowledge and skills are of those students? So the community is invited.
Great. All right. Audience sharing. The next agenda item is personnel items, distribution of the personnel report that's in the packets. Communications, not this time. And then we just need to discuss future agenda items. We have the FY21 recommended budget presentation.
So I'm not sure if this would be the place to talk about it, but I know we've talked about potentially reducing our impact with paper, and we are talking about potentially trying to go digital in the new year. So I don't know if that would be how that would work, if we just want to go. It's more over me discussing it, just because I don't want you all to see us sitting here with computers now and think like, what's going on up there, you know? So.
We can put that on the agenda item for.
That's good. So, something like that to discuss.
Perfect.
That's what we got going on. All right. Approval of bills and payrolls.
We'll have those ready on Friday.
Gotcha. Okay.
We lost 2 days this week.
And then we have an executive session that we need to call up with someone. We need to go to executive session.
Madam Chairperson, I move that we move into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining due to the chair's determination that a discussion regarding this matter in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the position of the committee with no intent to return to open meeting.
I second the motion.
And there'll be a roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We'll move into executive session now, and have a good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.